Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone. It's Season 2, Episode 6. It's called 8. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. This episode is on a research base in the deep ocean, and they're under the guise of studying ice down there that, reveals secrets and bacteria and all sorts of things that we've never encountered before. But obviously, as we discover throughout the episode, it's more than that. It starts off as something of a sort of monster movie, and see, for like 5 minutes in this episode, I was like, is this going to be like an evil genius octopus killing people off on a research base? And I was like, this might be the best episode this show has ever done. And then
high potential.
And somehow it ruins all of it. All of it. Monster movie,
ridiculous.
Yeah, monster movie with fun kills and tension and a cool underwater base setting. This is so up my alley, and they have to ruin it with the octopus is building an army that can use cell phones and will take over the earth. Which, don't get me wrong, this is the thing. So I was praising last week that this was only 31 minutes, right? And I do think that a lot of these episodes could do with being trimmed down. The thing is, though,
Certainly.
in only 31 minutes, this had to be more straightforward to make it all work, so you could just focus on the tension and the build to the kills and all that sort of thing. They put in so many insane ideas that this would need to be like a 2.5-hour movie to get us to the point where we're willing to buy any of this shit.
Yeah. The last 10 minutes is just Joel McHale telling us what the octopus is doing.
Yes.
It's unbearable. He's so bad in this. Not the octopus. He's fine. Joe McHale is really, really bad in this episode.
Well, honestly,
and I don't think he's a bad actor.
The octopus ain't that great in this either, in a specific way, and I'll talk about that.
Yeah. He had potential.
I'm just going to say, every time it did a close-up of the evil eyes as he was strangling someone, I thought, this is a bit goofy. This looks a bit silly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to watch it after The Blob, after we watched the 1988 version of The Blob, because it was kind of doing the Blob stuff.
The eye thing where it was trying to show the emotion in its quote-unquote face as it was strangling someone or whatever. It reminded me of a cartoon when they would just sort of squint the eyes as they're doing something evil. What's an example? I don't know. Anything. I'm sure there's examples on every cartoon there ever has been. Anything where they're going to do something evil, so they sort of close their eyes a little bit as if they're being evil. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like.
Yeah. There was some vengeance in that strangle.
And it's meant to be so smart, because the episode, this is the thing, so you're saying, we're saying this is ridiculous, and you're asking why is it ridiculous. This episode, in 31 minutes, tells us that at the dawn of evolution, well, maybe not the dawn, but millennia and millennia
ago. After the
trilobites.
trilobites.
Yeah, right? Basically, humans and octopus were both at the same stage of evolution, and we're both in the ocean, and one thing evolved into us, the other the octopus. And we, got the brain and the skeleton, and we became the rulers of the earth and all that. The octopus did not. But this ancient octopus is this far down in the ocean, which is actually what they're looking for. They suspect that it's going to have great qualities that they can... the Chinese woman wants to use it for her country to build super soldiers who can go, camouflage and all sorts of things.
Well, also just being able to live underwater.
Yeah. And
some
then
kind of human octopus hybrid.
Well, because the whole episode kind of makes it feel like Joel McHale and the other women are the evil Americans who are up to something. But then at the end when they're
just
arguing,
hired by pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, at the end when they're arguing, though, he kind of makes it sound more like, no, they're using it for noble intentions. They want to use it to cure diseases and whatever.
Right, which we use horseshoe crab, I think, for cancer treatments and stuff. But we are causing horseshoe crabs, which have been around since the Cambrian explosion, and now they're an endangered species because we use them for harvesting.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a debate I'm willing to get into right now, but
right. But I mean, that's a real thing. We use sea creatures for their blood, for their super blood.
So okay, right. So you've got this conflict, which could be interesting, I suppose. That but this is like B movie sci-fi level. Like we want to build super soldiers out of these like super octopus DNA. That is like B movie nonsense, which could be fun. But this episode, in the space of 31 minutes, goes from explaining us the backstory of how we evolved, from a similar place to the octopus, to the very end, where we see this octopus go back to its army of octopi.
Pie.
Thank you. Right? And it's basically
In an octopus's army.
it's basically gotten enough intel about what they were planning to use its DNA for to basically do the opposite and give the octopus human qualities so that they can rise out of the water and take over the world. We literally see it go to his army.
It's pretty stupid. But honestly, like the core premise and all the ideas in it, I could see this being like a pretty great 90-minute B movie, and it's done in this episode in like 30 minutes, which is promising also. But I think it's just because of the stank of the Twilight Zone. Like, it's just bad.
They take it. Well, no, I think part of the problem is that they take it so seriously the entire time. This is not a. They're not. I know, because
like all the crew members that are there, it's like the International Space Station but underwater, or like wherever they are in Antarctica, and it's these people. Like, who are these people? Like, they're like, some guy brought weed with him the whole time, and another guy, he looks like he's in a metal or a punk band. I think he might actually be.
That's not. I mean, it's possible. The whole thing, just like they're trying to pretend this is like way more intelligent and deeper than it is, and I'm like, if this was like you say, a 90-minute B movie that was embracing the absurdity of what the big twist is suggesting, I'd be super into it. But it's so up its own ass and pretending that this is more important than it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, the couple of scenes we actually get of the octopus like killing someone are pretty gruesome, and the effect that the one guy, like the octopus, like
the suckers gets on his eyeball.
And the eye comes out when he pulls it away, and that's kind of neat, and it's kind of fun, and that was where I'm like, man, there's potential in this, and it's just they somehow found a way to ruin this simple, easy to do premise, and it is an easy to do premise at the core, relatively speaking, right? Relatively speaking, in the context of making shows and movies, people in a confined space with a monster do some violence, like that can work. It can work.
We've underestimated nature, and I guess because we don't know everything about what's underneath the water, or inside the water, in the depths of the ocean. We're still discovering new species. Perhaps there's an ancient species of octopi that have evolved at the same rate as humanity, but are limited because of their surroundings and their tentacles. So they just needed a little extra help from humanity, and we had our chance. Now
and I have to admit, because one of the big giant leaps in logic that was hard to swallow is that the octopus was using one of their phones to access the internet, and I'm like, okay, how quickly has it learned English here exactly? Like, what's going on with this?
It's the language of science, man.
Oh, sure, yes. Yes, the Chinese woman's literally got a translator because she can't speak English, right? And they can't speak Mandarin, so it's translating, which is a big plot point throughout the episode, where she's kind of like suspecting they're up to something, and she's listening back and forth and blah blah. Other things to mention is there's like a nature documentary on about sea life. It's an old one, by the looks of it, and they've got a Rod Serling impersonator doing Rod Serling. Because I actually just thought it was an old documentary that Rod Serling happened to do at some point. They thought, we'll put this in for fun.
I think it is. Because I looked at the trivia, and I think there was like something that he, like Adventures of Jacques Cousteau or something, that he did narrate.
Okay.
But this is not his voice.
Is this the footage though? Because I mean, my guess. Well, if they own rights to the footage, then why wouldn't they just own rights to the audio, so they could just put the real audio in?
Well, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just like homage to that.
Yeah,
thing that
similar.
He used to do.
Yeah, similar footage. Yeah. I could see that being a thing, because the opening couple of minutes I was kind of into it. I was like, this is a good setting, like why does this get such a low rate in IMDb? And then the episode just minute by minute told me why it's that low in IMDb.
I liked the few bits in the beginning with the octopus, not so much like the very beginning with the people in the ice hole, but like
Yeah, that was
The
kind of
octopus,
just whatever.
coming out of, like, undoing the pipe, coming out of it like the blob would, and then he wrapping the tentacles around people and murdering them. That was kind of good. I like that
Yeah, that
stuff.
was good.
I mean, it was silly, and you're right. Like, you could see the anger in its squinty eyes.
But don't get me wrong.
Do they have goat's eyes? Do they have
I
the
have no
rectangular pupils?
I have no idea how
That immediately
accurate this
makes
is.
them demonic.
Well,
which
I
is
feel
cool.
like even if octopus don't, they get away with it because this is supposed to be some ancient species that's different than the ones
That's true.
we're familiar with. So they've got a
Give
little
them
bit of
goat eyes.
leeway. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If this was a cheesy B movie, I'd be loving the eyes. So that we could actually tell its face, its expression through the eyes. I would love it in a goofy B movie, but
I hated that, Joe McHale's character had to, like, narrate everything. like the whole last 10 minutes of it is just, oh, he's doing this now, and now he's doing this, and now he's doing this, and, like, yeah, okay.
yeah,
I mean, this.
I would say he's miscast, but a part of me thinks it's not even just a miscasting thing. Part of me just thinks it's the script's terrible, and it's making this character read all this, so it's not really his fault. Because Joel McHale in the right role is I love Community. He's great in that show. So
I've never seen it. I've seen him in other things, I think, though, and he's always been pretty funny. But in this, I don't think he's good, and it's probably not his fault, but it's probably just the script.
Yeah,
or
I
direction, or
recognize
both.
the secondary. Well, I mean, maybe Ling, the Chinese woman, might be the secondary lead, but the other woman who's there, I recognized her face from something, and I looked it up to see what it was. She was actually in Spring, which was the movie that the guys who did the Endless did before that. So and that was a pretty solid movie actually. So it was, I was like, oh yeah, I know who that is. Doing a decent accent actually, because she's actually German and has an accent, so she's doing a decent job in this of an American accent. So fair play. Honestly, there's almost very little else to talk about with this one. A couple of moments of violence. The last 10 minutes, as you say, it's just all exposition and like explaining to us what the octopus is doing, why it's doing it, and that's it. Because it was that sort of thing where it got to like the 20-minute mark of the episode out of 31 minutes, and I'm like, they're still teasing like what the two Americans are up to. Like, what possibly could they explain that they've set up, in this episode so far? There's not a lot of things here to do. So it does just come as this giant exposition dump that doesn't feel earned, doesn't feel like there's been like teases for it. Beyond the fact that they're up to something, but there's no, in a movie, for example, there'd be maybe some little thematic or contextual clues as to what it actually is, or who's aligned with what, or so on and so on. But there's nothing.
For a positive note, I do smile every single time Jordan Peele shows up. He has like this intense stare at the camera during his narration, and every time he says in the Twilight Zone, it is a little bit special. I do like Jordan Peele as the narrator still.
Do you know what I hate though about his narration? Not at the start so much, but the end. I hate the music as that it goes, because it does this like sort of plucking thing just before it goes to the credits.
No,
well, that's the credit. That's the credit music. No.
Same as the old one.
Yeah, but it's the music that sort of builds up to the credits, which it's not. But it's at least in what we've watched so far, it's not in the classic show. Maybe they'll add it at some point, but I don't think so. It does this thing where the plucking gets really high pitched just before it cuts to the credits, and it feels really kind of oddly hijinksy, which is weird. I don't know. Not for me. This one's it's such a misfire because it had so much potential. The setting gave me so much this could be fun.
I did enjoy the couple of kills, and because I'm such a fan of the Blob, I liked seeing a blob monster come out of small little tubes and murder people. That was fun.
Yeah. So more deaths.
And we did get some gore in this too, and it was all right.
Yeah, more deaths. Keep it simple.
Made me squirm.
If it's going to be this short, keep it simple. If you want to do big crazy IDs, and take it a little bit less seriously.
Yeah. I don't know about that whole DNA sequencing over the phone. It was ridiculous.
Yes, and we don't even know anything about these subjects. I'm sure someone, actual marine biologist or anyone who's in a science field that relates to anything they're talking about in this episode would probably watch this and be like, what?
Well, also, if these octopi are so intelligent, like, it would have been kind of cool if they had some sort of octopus city or something with octopus guards and I don't know, like some kind of underwater octopi. I mean, they were just all hanging out in the ground.
Basically, what you want is a reason for them to do the one bit you liked in Aquaman, which was the octopus playing the drums.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Where's our octopus band?
Yes, there you go. We've gotten to the root of that.
He's so cute. He rarely faces the camera.
I did not like this episode of Twilight Zone.
Is that your opinion? Your professional kitty opinion? He's a little blobby.
Oh. All right. I mean, this is a shorter review for this one, but honestly, I don't think I have anything else to add about it. Honestly, it's just pretty. It's ridiculous in its ideas, but once you get past sort of the shock of what these stupid ideas are, there's almost nothing else to discuss. So
yeah.
There you go. That's 8.
Sorry.
Episode 6 of Twilight Zone season 2, the new one. Let's look ahead to next time. It's called A Human Face. The description on
Sounds
IMDb
promising.
is as follows. A grieving couple are led to second guess what's worth leaving behind when an otherworldly encounter interrupts their move.
Okay.
I assume they're moving house. That's what
Otherworldly encounter with a human face.
I guess. This is the one with Christopher Maloney in it.
Who's that? That sounds familiar.
Oh, you'll know his face. He's been in tons of stuff. He was in that sci-fi show Happy most recently, but he's been in tons of things. What's his most known in IMDb? I'm sure some of these will pop out if the page ever loads. IMDb, what you did to me. Here we go. He was in Man of Steel. Oh, he was like a soldier in Man of Steel, actually. Yes, that's right. He's been in a lot on Law and Order.
I know that face.
But yeah, he has a lot of small parts in various things. He was in The Handmaid's Tale season 2 or 3. Was it one of those? So. Yeah.
Oh, he plays Jesus in Rick and Morty.
What a credit.
Yeah.
Rubba Dub Dub. Or is it Wubba Dub Dub?
Wubba Dub Dub.
Who else has watched it?
Oh yeah, he was in Veep.
I'll go back to it at some point. But that's what's coming next time on the new Twilight Zone season. I mean, it's like 7 weeks old now. It's not that new anymore, but new and relative in terms of the other one we're reviewing, which is the old classic show. But yeah, that'll about do it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Please do liking is super important on YouTube. It's a nice, easy and free way to support us. It'll let more people find us. YouTube will spread us out a little bit more the more likes we have. So please do so. You can, of course, support us financially, can't they, Tara?
Yeah. If you like what we do and you want to support the channel, please check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MouthFuzzTV. And if you donate as low as $1 per month, you will get access to movie reviews that are not available on the main channel on YouTube or on the podcast. So please check that out. There's a bunch of science fiction and horror films, mostly B movies, but there's some gems in there too, like Time Cop. And if you donate $5 per month, you will get access to some shows a week early and some shows a day early. So please check it out. Thank you.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good. Also, next week's episode is another short one, 33 minutes. So
Hey.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that all too well. So there you go. That is Twilight Zone episode 8. Not episode 8 of the season. The episode called 8. So
Because of octopus. We figured that out before we recorded.
Yes. Tara was very confused as to why it was called 8. I had to explain it to her. It was a very in-depth conversation.
That is not what happened.
Okay, both of us were like, why is it called 8? I don't get it. Why is it called 8? Oh, it's an octopus.
And we came to realization at the same time.
Yeah, we did. We literally both went, it's an octopus. Although technically at the end it's missing one of the tentacles, so
That's true.
7 technically by the end. But
7.3.
That's still too high a rating for the episode though. So yes, thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys, in the Twilight Zone.